If you clicked on this video, this could mean two things. One, you came here from the Mario 3D World video I just uploaded, or two, because you're wondering if the extension that is Bowser's Fury is worth spending $60 on, again. Well, you clicked on the right video. I hope. For those that aren't familiar with 3D World, opposed to the original Wii U release, this Switch port came with a whole new Mario adventure in the form of Bowser's Fury. This adventure doesn't take place in the same universe as 3D World, it takes place in its own dimension. This becomes very clear from the get-go, since you're supposed to pick one of two adventures from the main menu. So, what you get with this port is essentially a whole new game. But, is it any good? In order to find out, I once again had to ask for someone else's footage, since I still don't have the proper equipment to record my own Switch, aside from like the built-in 30-second recording thing. Luckily Longplays HD allowed me to use their footage for this video, so big shout out to them. Without them, this video wouldn't even exist. I left their links in the description down below and I would truly appreciate it if you check them out. Once again, thank you so much for letting me use your footage. I have no idea why people are so generous when I ask these things, but thank you, man. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into the game. Bowser's Fury starts very similar to 3D World. Mario is walking to some unknown location and then notices some black paint on the ground. He immediately senses something is wrong and starts running forward until he sees this black M that you actually might recognize from Mario Sunshine. The M then randomly turns into a black hole and swallows Mario. Mario is teleported to another dimension and spawns in falling from the sky. As soon as you're able to control Mario, you'll notice there's an eerie atmosphere. Everything's looking grim, there's rain and thunder, and there's no music playing at all. After about 25 seconds you'll set foot on the ship, and you'll notice a very different looking Bowser in the distance. This Bowser then starts attacking you upon noticing your presence. The game doesn't tell you what to do, but you can see this shining thing in the distance that looks like it's very important. So you dodge Bowser's attacks in order to get it. Once you collect this shiny icon that looks like a cat's face, it flies over to this cat-shaped lighthouse, removes the black paint that was covering it and turns on its light. This light appears to be the Bowser repellent, because he instantly retreats into the sea of black paint below him. So, what the hell is going on here? It turns out Bowser is corrupted by black paint, just like in Paper Mario Color Splash, and it is your task to defeat Bowser and clear the world from this black paint by collecting cat shines and turning on the lighthouses. Upon proceeding a little further, you'll then meet up with Bowser Jr., whose paintings at the start and in the credits sorta implied that this form was unintentionally caused by him painting his father black and thus angering him. Yeah, I don't know, man. Even for Mario standards this story is kinda weak, but luckily the story isn't really what makes these Mario games good anyway. So, after this, you're ready to start what Nintendo described as a quote-unquote free roaming adventure. But it's so much more than just that. Mario's adventure in this world called Lake Lapcat is unlike anything we've ever seen in the Mario universe. The world is by far the biggest world of all time in any Mario game. Way bigger than any individual kingdom in Mario Odyssey. Lake Lapcat is a gigantic world that mostly consists of water, but the actual gameplay takes place on these loose islands. They are loose islands with their own sets of challenges, but they are interconnected and wide open at the same time. There are no loading screens or boundaries between the different islands, and by removing these very things, the game makes you look at its world as an interconnected network of challenges. However, like I mentioned earlier, these islands are separated by a huge body of water. Swimming from one island to another would be very tedious, so they decided to give Plessy the dinosaur a huge role in this game. Man, I just love riding on this goofy ass dinosaur in 3D World, albeit very sporadically. To then see it return in Bowser's Fury just made me very happy. Anytime you want to travel from one island to another, you'll be using Plessy to do so. No matter where you exit any island, Plessy will always pop up very close to you instead of in a set location. No matter where you are, as soon as you want to travel to a different area, Plessy is instantly ready to get you to your destination as soon as possible. The fact that it pops up close to your location at any given time just makes this travel mechanic so flawless and makes the body of water feel like a feature rather than an obstruction. But the dino doesn't just serve the purpose of getting the player from point A to point B in this game. There's so much more to it. To elaborate on this, however, there are a couple more things I'll need to talk about first. So let me take you back to the very start of the game. After telling us what happened to his dad, Bowser Jr. surprisingly wants to help to defeat his dad, because he hates seeing him controlled by this black paint. If you're playing alone like me because you have no friends, you can control just how much Bowser Jr. will help you. You can have him collect coins for you and defeat enemies, but you can also just tell him to fuck off, which is the setting I mostly played on. I don't really feel like the game should hold my hand like that, but the option to have the AI doing all of this stuff for you is kinda cool regardless. Other than that, you'll also encounter these question marks in various places. Upon touching it, Bowser Jr. will start painting and provide you with a power-up, which definitely makes them worth looking for. Last but not least, Bowser Jr. can be controlled by a second player, so you can experience the game with a friend. Like I said though, I don't have any friends, so I really can't give an objective opinion on the two-player experience. But yeah, you collect Bowser Jr. as an ally and you're pretty much ready to go. Without any instruction or anything, you move towards the cat-shaped bow, which is where the game will explain what you're supposed to do with a very fitting mission name. Make the lighthouse shine by collecting cat shines. Similar to Mario Odyssey, you're supposed to collect 50 cat shines to unlock the final boss fight, with an additional 50 to collect afterwards. You do this by exploring every nook and cranny and by completing various challenges on the different islands. I absolutely loved collecting all of the available moons in Super Mario Odyssey, and it's just as much fun in this game. Each of the different islands contains a total of 5 cat shines, and you can easily tell which of the islands you fully cleared, because a big Mario flag will pop up on top of the lighthouse once you've collected them all. The different kinds of islands make use of all the different mechanics, objects, helmets and enemies in Mario 3D World, and it truly utilizes them to their maximum potential. Clear pipes, flip panels, falling blocks, boss fights, it's all there, and they're all connected to cat shines in fun and unique ways. I absolutely love it. But it's not just the islands themselves that contain a bunch of cat shines, so does the body of water around them. And yes, this means exactly what you think it means. There are a bunch of cat shines that are connected to this lovely little dinosaur. You're supposed to chase a bunny that's somehow able to walk on water or do these 20-second parkour challenges in order to obtain these cat shines, and albeit very simple and straightforward, I found myself really enjoying these dino rides every single time. There is one more way of obtaining cat shines, however. At any given moment you can see the humongous Bowser shell spinning in the distance. Bowser is always present in Lake Lapcat and he will wake up every few minutes to attack you and ruin your day. To make him go back into his hidey hole, you either collect a cat shine to clear the pain of a lighthouse and blind his ass, or you wait for like 2 minutes and then he'll disappear on his own terms. Now, while this particular event seems to serve the purpose of disrupting you, you can actually use these attacks to collect a few cat shines. Throughout the levels you'll encounter these Bowser blocks that can only be broken by Bowser's flamethrower. These blocks are always connected to a cat shine, and thus you'll want to be next to some of these blocks when Bowser inevitably wakes up from his nap, especially since collecting a cat shine will instantly make him leave again. Now, while I get the idea of an evil force disrupting your adventure every few minutes, I really could have done without it. Every time I was just minding my own business, this fucking dude would show up again and ruin my chances of collecting the cat shine I was looking for. I don't think making him appear is necessarily a bad idea, but he just appears way too often. At some point I figured out that Bowser's appearance in the distance worked like a clock and that you could predict when he'd wake up again by how fast his shell was spinning and how high up in the sky he was at any given moment. I got so annoyed by this event that I just checked his position every time I was about to collect a cat shine, and if he was close to waking up, I'd just wait and collect it as soon as he woke up. So then he would leave again and I could move on with my day. However, when you get to like cat shine 47, Bowser is just eternally mad and collecting cat shines doesn't make him leave anymore. So you're stuck with his annoying ass until you reach 50. And like, I had never played this game or seen any footage of it, so I had no clue where to collect a few easy cat shines, so I ended up taking a fuck ton of damage looking for them, and I was modding quite a bit. I really don't feel like an event like that should be so annoying that I'd want to try to work around it. And I truly do feel like this game could have done without this feature. But that isn't the only role Bowser plays in this game. Upon collecting 5, 15, 20, 40, 50 and eventually 100 cat shines, you unlock this gigantic cat belt that will turn you into a huge cat, so you're able to fight Bowser. Bowser attacks you with a variety of different attacks, after which you'll either have to throw one of these blocks at him or wait for him to do this airdrop move so you can ground pound him while he's on his back. I never really found these fights very interesting or anything. His attacks are relatively easy to dodge, and after I found out you can have the camera centered on Bowser by pressing L, it really was a walk in the park. However, seeing these two giants fight and watching the islands you just explored become incredibly tiny is such a cool way of structuring a boss fight, even though they're relatively easy. Upon beating Bowser, you'll unlock new islands and even new cat shines on already existing islands. The way they make new cat shines appear is really cool in general, by the way. It's not like the 5 collectible cat shines are hidden on the island from the get-go, they actually did something way cooler with them. A bunch of times when you collect a certain cat shine, the entire environment will change completely to make way for the next one. The general island will remain the same, but suddenly there are entirely new structures and enemies that you'll have to deal with in order to obtain the next cat shine. I really like the fact that so many cat shines come with these environmental changes. It really turns the exact same island into a completely new adventure that feels fresh and different. But what if you're having a hard time collecting one of the 50 cat shines and you're starting to get annoyed with the game? Well, that isn't a problem either. Even though you need 50 to unlock the final story boss fight, there are more than 50 cat shines available beforehand. I had a very hard time completing this ice skating challenge, so I just collected another cat shine instead and came back to it in the post-game. By having more than 50 available, they effectively prevented the game from feeling too tedious to complete. Sure, not every challenge is perfect and I was still annoyed at times when trying to 100% it, but at least you can complete the story section relatively easy at the very least. Another question you might be asking yourself is, but how do I even know which cat shines I still need to get? Well, the developers eliminated this problem as well. Aside from the Mario flags on lighthouses, the game also helps you out with collecting the remaining 50 after completing the story section. Bowser Jr. now has an accessible map with all of the locations of the remaining cat shines, similar to the map you obtain in Mario Odyssey. This also comes with another nifty little feature, since Bowser Jr. can now teleport you to whichever island you desire. Now, while this renders Plessy pretty much useless, it does make collecting the remaining 50 cat shines feel like less of a chore. What also makes collecting the various cat shines less of a chore is the revamped power-up system. Instead of having one power-up equipped and one extra like in pretty much any Mario game, you can now have up to 5 of each stored in your inventory. By pressing up, you'll open up the power-up menu and you're able to select whichever power-up you desire. It will then replace the power-up you currently have and place its item back in the menu, so you don't actually lose whatever power-up you're replacing. Now, while I do like the fact that you can have that many power-ups stored in some sort of an inventory, there is no reason to use any other power-up than the Catsuit. I mean, the world is called Lake Lapcat, the bullet bills are cats, even the cats are cats. It's pretty clear that this game was designed for the Catsuit. I found myself never really using any other power-up than the Catsuit, since climbing walls is by far the best way to explore every nook and cranny and find the hidden cat shines. The only times I really used any of the other power-ups was when Bowser was attacking me. I tried to preserve my Catsuits and thus I just equipped whatever other power-up I had in my inventory to tank Bowser's hits and not lose anything valuable. Speaking of the Catsuits, something I didn't mention in my 3D World video is that there are essentially 2 Catsuit power-ups, the Cat Bell and this Lucky Bell. I really didn't think the Lucky Bell mattered enough to mention in the 3D World video. The only difference with the Cat Bell is that Cat Mario transforms into a golden statue that produces coins by ground pounding. But they brought it back again in Bowser's Fury for some unknown reason. In Bowser's Fury, the Lucky Bell essentially does the same thing, but the statue function is used to defeat like one specific enemy and that's it. It's incredibly dumb to me that such a minor feature required a whole new item. I mean, I'm not complaining at all, it essentially means you have up to 10 Catsuits stored in your inventory, but what's the point of making 2 items for what is essentially the same damn power-up? I don't know, man. What an incredibly weird decision. Anyway, this leaves me with just one thing left to talk about. At the very start of the video, you might have noticed a little something on the screen once you spawn in for the first time. And yes, this is exactly what you think it means. This game has a free camera. Yes! A game like this, where you have to find 100 cat shines by exploring pretty much the entire map, would have never worked with a fixed camera. So it really doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize a free camera works best. Now, while it's a logical decision in an exploration type concept like this, I was more so surprised by how much a free camera actually affects the depth perception. Like, holy fucking shit. I didn't think it would help this much. Where I was mauling in various levels in 3D World because of the depth perception, I can't recall a single time where I missed a jump because of this in Bowser's Fury. Whenever I had a parkour section ahead of me, I was able to adjust the camera and get it into the perfect angle. I thought a free camera would fix some of the issues I had with the 3D World depth perception, but I could have never imagined that it would fix everything. The problem literally doesn't exist in Bowser's Fury. And with that bombshell, we're at the end of this video. Bowser's Fury is truly a fantastic experience that I would recommend to anyone. But like I said in my 3D World video, I'd never recommend getting this at full price. I beat Bowser's Fury story mode in like 2.5 hours, and I 100%ed it in maybe 4.5 hours total, and Mr. Longplays HD over here 100%ed it in 3 hours and 18 minutes, so I was slow too. If they value the games in Mario 3D All-Stars at $20 a piece, then so should 3D World, since it's literally the same game as the Wii U version. To then value a 2.5 hour storyline at $40 it's fucking incredible to me. Did they provide an enjoyable experience? Yes. Does a short game fit a format like this? Yes. Does it have a good amount of replay value? Yes. Are there any major flaws? No. But you can't sell a fucking HD port plus a demo-length additional game for 60 fucking bucks. If you haven't played 3D World and you like owning physical copies, then go ahead and buy it. But even then, just wait until the prices go down and don't blow your load on this scam. I like supporting developers by purchasing their games instead of just emulating it at a later point in time, but in 3D World plus Bowser's Fury's case, I'm not too sure. Bowser's Fury alone definitely isn't enough to make a purchase at full price worth it if you've already played 3D World on the Wii U. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say about this game. I'd like to thank you all for watching these hopefully 2 videos, and even if you've only watched this one, then thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button, liking the video, all that stuff, and I'll see you next time. Peace!